So as I explained in my last video, what happened after I decided to leave my daughter's father. I am not going to recap so much, but I'm going to pick up where I left off. Sorry. It is being at the new shelter. So we were there, everything was good, had no complaints. Because people understood how my daughter was. So they understood that if she made too much noise or if she cried or stomped or anything like that, it wasn't because she was being rude. It was because that's just the way she is. So we were there and everything was good. At one point, I met this lady and she just started talking to me. And she was telling me that she was having problems with certain, residents in the building. Maybe me, not knowing what is what, I listened, but I didn't comment. And I didn't say, oh my gosh, that person should have I never knew. Until one day, I was waiting for the school bus with my daughter. And there was another parent waiting with her child. And the resident that was complaining to me, and that lady almost got into a fight. And after that happened, I said, okay, now I know who's the troublemaker. I still, if I saw this lady, still said hi, because I never had a problem with her. She wasn't giving me trouble, I wasn't giving her trouble. Until one Friday, one of the housing directors, myself, another lady, and the lady that I told you about that complained to me, we all went to view an appointment. We went, and I was like, you know what, I don't like it. It was too small for me. The space was just too small for myself and my daughter. I said she would not have enough space to play, to run. And I said, besides that, there are all these businesses downstairs, and we are on top of all these people. All these people are going to complain. So while we were there, the lady that complained to me, I helped her. She came with her baby in the stroller, so I helped. I opened the door for her, so whenever she wanted to go in and out, she could go in and out. She didn't know the way back home to the shelter, and neither did the housing director that went with us. So I was going back home, and I went on the bus with all of them. Cause I had to show them the way back home since I knew Queens better than they did. And I showed them the way back home. I left them because my daughter's bus came and I had to hurry up and go get my daughter. Anyway, anyways, the Sunday, my daughter and I were waiting for a ride to go to church. And listen, I'm being as real as possible. Any mistakes I make, I make. If I pronounce a word incorrectly, if I do anything, that's just it. I'm not editing, nothing. This is just the way I am doing it. Because I'm being as real and authentic as possible. So, my daughter and I are waiting the Sunday. And we're waiting, and we're normally, when we go downstairs, we're talking to the security guards, we're making fun. Because as I said, everybody loves my daughter Lily, and everybody loves me. We have no problem with nobody. And here comes the lady, and she doesn't say good morning to anybody, not to me, and not to the security. She goes out the door, and she comes back in. When she comes back in, they say something to her like, you can't say good morning. And she said good morning in a very rude way. She leaves and she goes around the corner, and she's around the corner and she's looking back around the way that I am. And security can see her on the camera, and they're wondering, what is she doing around there? Anyway, they said, you know what, we're going to check out what's going on because on Sundays, most of the workers are not there. It might just be like one case manager there. So they went around, one of them went around and asked her what was happening, and she said, me. So from that, what I was told, she has a problem with me. And I'm wondering, how can you have a problem with me? We just met Friday together at a place and everything was okay. Before then, you complained to me and you would see me, and we never had any problems together. We never exchanged a mean word. I never said anything insulting or bad to you, never looked at you the wrong way, but all of a sudden you have an issue with me? So I had learned eventually that everywhere in the building this person went, they had a problem with somebody. And they complained about the person, called the person whatever kind of names, call the director and say, hey, this person's giving me problems, this person's making noise, this person's doing this and doing that. Even calling the police on the person. So I eventually learned that out of the 1,000,001 times they moved her around in the building, they finally moved her above me. Now, if somebody's living above you, you're going to hear all their noise. They're not supposed to hear the noise that you're making. They went and they complained about me. They said, she's using something to hit the ceiling, and she's making a lot of noise, and she's doing this and she's doing that. And I'm like, what? I never complained about all the noise she was making. For somebody who had a baby, she would turn up the music extra loud. She walked with a cane, so she would bang the cane on the floor over my head. She would make all sort of noise. I could hear her up there cursing me out. Sometimes my daughter was on the bed watching her tablet, and I'm on the bed lying down, or I'm at the table sitting. So we weren't making noise where she could hear and complain, but yet she complained that we were making noise and complained about us. Anyway, time went on. Anywhere she saw me, she ran and she hid. If I was in the elevator and she wanted to get in, she wouldn't get in the elevator. If I was downstairs waiting and she saw me, she would turn back and go to her apartment, which to me was sort of weird because I'm like, I'm not bothering you. I'm not saying nothing to you whatsoever. Nothing. When I learned that she was complaining and really complaining about me, I said, you know what? I'm going to say something to the director. And I said something to the director, and the director is like, you know what? Don't confront her. Anytime there are any problems, just let me know. And that's what I did. As I said, anything they asked me for, any paperwork, anything, I gave it to them as quickly as possible. They never had to remind me about nothing. They never had to tell me that the place was dirty. Nothing. I was in good standing with them. I needed to get a place to live because even though this was a permanent place for a temporary solution. And what I mean by that is, unlike the previous domestic violence shelter that I was in, you could only stay for 7 months. This place was, you could stay for years until you get a place. I wanted to leave because I wanted my freedom. I wanted to be able to go out whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to sign in. I didn't want to sign in and out of a book. I didn't want to have to tell somebody every time I had to go to the doctor. I didn't want to have to ask somebody, I need to have I have a family thing. Can I be away for 2 days? I wanted to go away for as long as I wanted to. In that kind of environment, you can't really have good relationships because you can't really hang out with nobody. You have to be home by a certain time. You can't leave before a certain time. It's like they always have to know your whereabouts. So I did everything possible not to be in that place. I remember they told me that I got a place. And I was so excited about this place, but it was a place, it was city housing. And when I went to look at that place, for one, it was too far. I would have to change my daughter's school. And two, not only was it too far, the place was horrible. And when I say horrible, I mean horrible. Normally, before you show somebody an apartment, you fix it up, you clean it up to make it look presentable. They did not do that in my case. And I kept on hearing that once the city offers you a place, if you don't take it, they're looking at it as you don't want the place, you don't need the place, so they're not going to offer you another place. But I prayed and I said, God, I don't want to go to this place. I want to stay in the same location that I'm in. Not in the same shelter, but I wanted an apartment in the same community that I was in because it was more convenient for my daughter. Time went on, things happened, and thanks be to God. Whatever God did it. And we ended up not getting the apartment. The lady had told us that, hey, yes, you can get the apartment, you know what, as long as you pay the down payment by a certain time. It wasn't paid by a certain time. But we called her and we said, can we still pay that? She said, yes. And by the time we looked, she said, oh, somebody else took the place. And she told a whole bunch of lies about, oh, she didn't tell us this and she didn't tell us that. But I knew it was God at work. Because, as I said, I didn't want to go to that place. That place was not suitable for my daughter and I. And not only was it not suitable, it was too far. And I was so grateful and thankful to God that He did not send us to that place. But yet in my mind, I was thinking, how are we going to get a place? Because we don't have the money to go rent a place and all of that. But the good thing is God provided us with a voucher to get an apartment. And I am so grateful to God for that voucher. Because if it wasn't for that voucher, there's no way we could have gotten an apartment with me not working. The only income I had at the time was my daughter's SSI. So you're looking at, I can't rent a place for nothing. So very, 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 very grateful for that voucher. That's where I'm going to stop for now and I'm going to pick up again.